everyone, in this woodworking tutorial I'll show you how to build this beautiful panelled front door from scratch using the minimum of tools and the cheapest of materials, creating a fantastic period effect and curbside appeal for your home renovation and design. And my secret hack for someone with few carpentry or woodworking skills or specialist tools to get that perfect door every time. I'll let you see the cost breakdown and you'll be amazed at how big a saving you can make compared to the cost I received to have it made by a carpenter. So let's get started. First step, materials and measurements. I'll take my dimensions off the opening and I'll subtract about 2mm from around 3 sides. A bit more at the bottom, maybe 5 to 8mm depending on the floor finish I have inside. Now I've got my door size, I need to quantify and buy my materials. Because it's an external door, we'll go for Northern European redwood, readily available at your local timber merchants. And I'll purchase lengths of these planks, 195 by 18mm, usually 3.1 meters in length, sometimes they're 5.1. And if you're watching this in North America, you'll be using a northern lumber, Douglas fir or Canadian redwood, for example. Now we need our tools, and as I said, I am doing this with the bare minimum. No fancy carpentry workshop with jigs, no biscuit joints, and no table saws for us. So these tools I'm sure you will have to hand as well. I already had a couple of these super cheap sawhorses, and I bought another 2 to give me 4 in total. And you'll see why we need 4 in a moment. You'll need a chop saw or mitre saw for cutting our timbers and for cutting our miters. However, a hand saw is fine with a mitre jig kit for the joints if you want to do it all manually. My Evolution saw was good value for money and a great investment for my DIY home extension and self-build projects, and I recommend you get one as well. Links to everything is going to be in the description. I'll use a drill driver for my screws and a hammer and nail punch for my panel pins. Now for my secret woodworking sauce, which allows us to skip the whole woodworking workshop, carpenter specialist tools, door jig and router thing. Rather than building a door using the traditional mortise and tenon method with all the craftsmanship skills that requires, I'm going to cheat. Now a door blank is going to be perfectly square and forms the perfect base for fixing, and it's easy to work with using very basic tools. It's cheap, it's readily available, and is already good for sitting in an outside environment, and so I won't need to worry about mortising and tenoning to prevent movement. I'll just fix the new timbers into the door blank. And for this particular project I'm going to use the old existing door blank. Although it's a bit rotten in parts, I can clean it up and it's the exact size I need, and I'll just be able to retain and reuse the hinges. If your old door isn't suitable, you can buy a new blank. They are very cheap compared to a finished door, and I would be cutting it to the size we just measured using my track saw. If I don't have a track saw, the merchant will cut it for you for a very small fee per cut, or you can use a hand saw if you are careful. I often draw templates for my cut components and get the merchants to pre-cut them using their special saws. To get my panelled effect, I'm using the redwood planks and placing them to create the period panelled effect, and I'm thinking about the style I want, and Art Deco is right for the period I'm thinking of for this particular house renovation project. It's modern with a touch of playful elegance and still got a bit of a period feel. For a more formal Georgian Regency look, you might go for the 4 panels or even 6. I'll just use the existing hinges from the old door, but I'll replace the old slotted screws with these lovely precision door screws from Hinge Type, slightly thicker than the old screws so they'll still get a good grip, using the old holes as pilots. And most door frames and casings are quite narrow in depth, and you don't need a long screw despite the heavy weight of a door. You don't need long screws for doors due to the way the door hinges distribute the weight into the casing. And casings, by the way, are often quite narrow. This one is old golden is about 40mm, but modern ones can be 33mm down to 25 for some builds, and these are just based on the standard size from the merchant in redwood usually. If you're replacing with a completely new door blank, go for these ball bearing hinges, which are perfect for heavier front doors. The door will be increasing in thickness, so we'll be stripping off the old door stops and ripping down our 18mm redwood planks to the correct thickness of the frame minus the thickness of the door, which I'll show you how I did it exactly in another video. I'll use 2 of the sawhorses for storing my redwood planks and the other 2 horses for laying down my door blank. Once it's cut to the size I need, I'll clean the door up. If, like here, I'm using the old door, it will be the base that's most likely rotten, and I'll strip back and repair using this 2-pack filler with the mix, the big quantity, and the hardener in the small tube. This stuff dries in no time and sets harder than the timber, so it's great for repairing and restoring areas of decay like rotten windowsills and like this old door. Once it's set, we'll just sand it smooth, and the link to the best stuff and quantity again is in the description below. Next, I'll sand all the surfaces down, starting with an 80 grit sandpaper, using a palm sander or just your hands and a block, and then over again with 120 grit sandpaper. Now let's look at our design that we sketched and let's detail it up a bit more using SketchUp. Super easy software and free to use, and this will help me get my exact quantities. For added period quality, I want some beading to go around the panels. Here's my shopping list, and it's this if you're using a new door blank. On to step 2, and with the measurements in hand, let's start cutting the redwood boards to create the door's frame and panels, and I'm using my track saw for accuracy, which is another great investment, and I'll leave a link in the description for a great one. But alternatively, you can get it again pre-cut at your merchants. You just need to be all measured up prior to starting and send them a cutting schedule. I use SketchUp for doing that, as well as all the other stuff. Let's start by ripping down the redwood planks to the widths I want using our design. Here I'm taking about 90mm off to get the width down to 105mm, which once the stops are on, it will be more like 90mm. And using our door blank as our guide for the lengths, I'll use the chop saw to get it right angled, perpendicular cuts, but a hand saw is just fine too for this size. Now on to step 3, and we're going to begin assembling the door by attaching the redwood planks to the door blank to create the panels we want. I'm going to secure them with glue on the back and then screws into the face for added stability, and I'm using this wood glue by Gorilla. A litre bottle will do it, and I love this brand because of their nozzle widget, which stops the glue blocking the flow, avoids having to stop and unblock. Tube nozzles can drive you crazy over time. Rather than nailing the redwood down, I'm screwing it in with these hex 50mm number 5 screws, and I'm choosing a narrow self-tapping wood screw with good grip to minimise the risk of splitting as I countersunk in. Also importantly, I'm using screws over nails to clamp the panels to the door for the glue to do its stuff, trying to minimise shrinkage to the new redwood. Even if I prevent 0.5 millimetre, I'm happy. If you're using nails, you'll need to use clamps, which is just more work, and I prefer just to use the screws, and then I'll be filling and refilling the countersinks and the junctions with the 2-pack filler I used earlier. And once I've filled it, I'll sand it again, and because I'm using this old door blank as base, I'll cover up the previous flaky veneer within the panels with 6mm external quality marine ply, which I'll cut to size again using my track saw. I'll glue and pin the panels, same Gorilla glue as before, and 32mm panel pins punched in with a nail punch. I'm using a very cheap finishing gun with 32mm braids here, but it's just as easy to hand hammer the pins for something as small an area as this. And I'll go around the corner joints with more glue just to help with any chance of moisture somehow getting behind where the joints are. On to step 4, and now it's time to add the decorative elements and take your time to create a unique and personalised look which captures the period you're trying to recreate. For that minimal effect, go without any fluting or OG and the panels will still look great. I looked at various types of beading and this 12mm sunk moulding, for example, but to get that wonderful period quality effect I'm looking for, I'm going to go for this Art Deco profile. It's called a Ballection moulding, which is available off the shelves locally for a few pounds per length. And I was careful to select the correct profile for the rebates. I've got, in my case, 18mm. And since I need these miter cuts to be perfect, I've set up my miter saw in both dimensions, so vertically and horizontally, making sure it's calibrated and the blade is in good condition and absolutely plumb. I'll practice cutting miters with some offcuts before doing my final lengths. If you get your miters wrong at this stage, it's going to look rubbish. So a top tip is to oversize by a millimetre or so, and then adjust the length in minuscule amounts by pressing the cut length against the face of the blade, then raising the blade, and you'll find that the teeth of the blade are marginally thicker than the body of the blade, so you'll be able to do tiny incremental cuts without any effort. Cut them so the miters are tight, the mouldings are going to shrink a tiny bit if they're going to move at all. Glue them in and seal the joints with glue and pin down using your panel pins and nail punch. Here's my total cost, including fixings and filler, and here's the quote I got from a local carpenter woodworker. There's a huge difference. Congratulations, we've just crafted our very own front door for the fraction of the cost. Take a step back and admire your handiwork. If you enjoyed this tutorial on how to build a front door, check out my other videos on preparing and painting the door, the paint I recommend and the colours to consider. I'll also show you how to fix the locks, ironmongery, letterbox, draft proofing and door furniture. To build better things, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more self-build and craft tutorials with DIY projects. See you in the next one.